Hey everyone, and welcome to Top Think. Today we're going to learn about 4 signs you're pretending to be happy. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Masking unhappiness. Do you feel like you need to prove your happiness to other people? The happiest people rarely ever talk about how happy, fulfilled, or satisfied they are. They don't brag about their achievements or ramble about their incredible relationships. Instead, they keep their happiness to themselves. A happy person doesn't need to vocalize their happiness to make it real, because when you really feel it, happiness speaks for itself. Unhappy people, on the other hand, have something to prove. You might, for example, hear someone bragging about how fulfilled they feel in their new career. They brag about every achievement and every unforgettable experience. They repeat the same stories and tell the same lies, because they want to convince the world and themselves that what they're saying is the truth. But it's not true, and they know it better than anyone. They're creating an elaborate mask, pretending to be happy, satisfied, and accomplished. But deep down, they're unhappy. No matter how hard you try, stories and lies will never bring you real happiness. No amount of bragging can substitute genuine love, satisfaction, or pride. Because every lie you tell creates more distance between the person you are and the person you claim to be. It makes you more desperate for people's approval. You may feel fragile, guilty, or dishonest, not only with the people in your life, but with yourself. Because you know deep down that the person you're showing to the world isn't the real you. Now, if this sounds familiar, honesty is always the answer. It's not easy. In fact, it's terrifying. But you must be willing to accept yourself as you are. You don't need to tell lies or invent achievements. You don't need to wear a mask, because happiness isn't something you need to prove. Instead, engage with the person beneath your mask, because that's the only way to figure out who you really are. Luckily, there are many ways to free yourself from the mask that you've been wearing. If you're pretending to be happy, start by telling small truths to the people who matter to you most. Give them a glimpse at the happy person that you're trying to become, because once you find that happiness, you won't need to prove anything to anyone. Your happiness will always speak for itself. Number 2. Constant fatigue. Do you feel tired all the time? Do you struggle to enjoy the things you used to love? For reasons that you can't explain, you don't have the energy to be yourself anymore. Maybe you're weighed down by stress or anxiety. Maybe you have low self-esteem or feel dissatisfied with the direction of your life. For whatever reason, you feel exhausted all day, every day, almost like you didn't get enough sleep. But sleep isn't the issue. Even if you're sleeping 8 hours every night, you're still tired 24/7. Nothing feels the way it used to, and you just don't know why. Unfortunately, emotional exhaustion is a vicious cycle. You feel terrible and empty, but you don't want other people to know something is wrong. You may pretend to be happy, so no one knows how much you're struggling, but pretending to be happy doesn't make your problems go away. In fact, it makes those problems even worse. Now, you're not just tired and empty, but you also feel dishonest, ashamed, and guilty. You may feel like a failure. You may be angry at your own choice. You may beat yourself up for falling behind. On the outside, you pretend that you're fine, you say nothing's wrong, but you know deep down that you're not the person that you used to be. So how do you overcome this constant fatigue? Where do you find the energy to be your usual self? The best way to overcome this debilitating feeling is to organize your life. You can create routines to gradually stabilize your daily life. It's going to be a slow process, but change always takes time. Like any emotional obstacle, constant fatigue isn't something you can snap out of in a second. There's no quick fix for this draining experience, but over time you can regain your energy and motivation. Try setting a consistent schedule to create a stronger sense of control into your life. By sleeping consistently, eating regimented meals, and exercising on a regular basis, you can relieve stress, boost your energy, and build motivation. Now, a routine isn't going to change your life overnight, but it does create a stable foundation on which you can empower yourself and rediscover who you are. Number 3. Denying negativity. Unhappiness isn't always obvious. Some of the happiest people on the outside are the unhappiest people on the inside. For example, you may know someone who's constantly smiling. This person never has a bad thing to say. They always look on the bright side, and you've never heard them complain about a single thing. Now, you may think they're the happiest person you know, but their positivity could be masking deeper issues. In some cases, people become hyper-positive to avoid the negative issues in their lives. It's easier for them to pretend to be happy than admit to themselves that they're not. Because it's hard to be an unhappy person. No one wants to spend time with someone who's constantly pessimistic or self-deprecating. Therefore, people fake their happiness to preserve their image or protect their relationships. They may smile all the time. They may be the most positive person in the room, but that doesn't mean they believe everything they're saying. They may be projecting a pleasant persona to mask deeper emotional turmoil. So how do you know if someone feels as positive as they seem? Well, the happiest people view life through a positive lens, not because they're constantly optimistic, but because they understand the dualistic nature of life itself. Real positivity means taking the good with the bad. It's acknowledging the problems in the world and choosing to be hopeful anyway. Now, of course, that's a difficult pill for unhappy people to swallow. If you're pretending to be happy, an ounce of negativity may shatter your world. You may feel like smiling is the only way you can hold everything all together. But false optimism is not helping you find happiness. It's blinding you to the negativity that exists in the world. But just because bad things can happen, that doesn't mean the world is a bad place. Bad things may happen, but good things will happen too. It's the combination of good and bad that makes life worth living. So think about the way you view the world. Are you optimistic because you really believe in the positivity you spread? If not, you may not be as happy as you think. Number 4. Social isolation. Unhappy people unconsciously isolate themselves from the people in their lives. You may insist that you want to be alone all the time. When people ask, you say you like it better that way, but the truth is, you're afraid to be honest with others. You may be scared of letting friends and family into your life, or maybe you don't want others to see how unhappy you really are. While there's nothing wrong with being alone, solitude is something you should enjoy, not a punishment you should lay upon yourself. You should choose to be alone because it truly makes you happy. If deep down you want to spend time with other people, you shouldn't force yourself into solitude. That's how solitude becomes social isolation. Instead of enjoying your own company, you're hiding yourself from the world. You're masking your shame and unhappiness by pushing people out of your life. But you may not realize the damage you're doing. Studies have shown that social isolation decreases happiness and increases loneliness and insecurity. Isolating yourself means severing your connections with people who want to love and support you. It means damaging relationships that may take a long time to rebuild. So don't run away from the people standing in your corner. Don't isolate yourself even if you think you're better off alone. As difficult as it is to put yourself out there, connecting with others is one of life's greatest sources of happiness. It requires courage and vulnerability. You'll have to take risks and open yourself up to hardship, but it's those risks that make loving relationships worth maintaining. So if any of this rings true, then ask yourself one simple question. Do I really want to be alone? The truth may be that you're looking for something more, and that's okay. In fact, that's great. Recognizing that you want to connect with other people is one of the largest obstacles a person can overcome. Once you've decided to stop isolating yourself, you can stop pretending to be happy. You can admit to yourself that something is missing from your life. But that's not something to be ashamed of. It's okay to be incomplete. It's okay to be a work in progress, because you need to recognize what you're missing before you can locate those missing pieces. One day, you'll meet friends or partners who fill those gaps, people who bring you more happiness than you know today. Once you meet those people, you won't just feel satisfied in the connections you've built, you'll also gain a fuller understanding of who you are as both a socialite and as an individual. By forging new connections and being vulnerable to others, you can discover what happiness looks like together and alone. Hey, thank you for watching Top Think, and be sure to subscribe because more incredible content is on the way.